Hey guys, I'm Reed Rogers,
And I'm Jeremiah Arias.
and today we're going to teach you about demand and supply curves and what causes shifts in them and movement along them.
Alright, let's begin.
Yeah. Alright guys, so the first concept that we're going to learn about today is called the law of demand. This law states that there's an inverse relationship between the quantity demanded and the price of a good or services. This essentially means that when the price of milk drops, then the quantity demanded will increase as more people will want to buy the milk because it's cheaper and therefore they can get more bang for their buck.
So, there are three reasons why the demand curve is a downward sloping curve. The first reason being the substitution effect, which states that changes in price will motivate consumers to buy substitute goods that are relatively cheaper. For example, if I had these two pencils and they start off at the same price, but then this brand pencil drops its price 20 cents, then I'll be more motivated to buy this pencil versus this pencil.
The second reason why the demand curve is downward sloping is due to something called the income effect. Basically, the income effect states that changes in the price of a certain good or service affect the consumer's purchasing power. So, for example, if the price of this pencil dropped 20 cents, then the demand would increase because more people would be able to afford this pencil.
And the third reason is the law of diminishing marginal utility, which states as a consumer continues to consume a product, he or she will receive less satisfaction each time they consume a unit of the given product. For example, the more you eat at P. Terry's, the less satisfying it will become.
Alright, so here I have a standard downward sloping demand curve. So a movement along the curve is only caused by a change in the price of a good or service. So, for example, if this pencil, if the price increased, then the point which was originally there would move along the demand curve where the price level is higher, the quantity produced is lower. Okay, so here we have a standard downward sloping demand curve at the top, and this time the entire curve has actually shifted inwards, and that shift is caused by 5 different shifters of the demand.
Alright, so the 5 shifters of demand are 1. Tastes and preferences. So, for example, if a study comes out that kids are likely to write better with a mechanical pencil than with a wooden pencil, then the demand for the mechanical pencil will go up. Second shifter is number of consumers. So say the population of a given area increases, that brings in more demand. And number 3 is the price of related goods. So this has 2 factors. 1, if there is mechanical pencils and normal pencils, then if a normal pencil is cheaper than a mechanical pencil, the demand for a normal pencil will go up. And then there's also a relationship with complements. So if the price for a normal pencil goes down relative to the mechanical pencil, then the demand for the normal pencil will go up. And the other factor for this shifter is complements to a good. So let's say with a pencil, a complement would be paper, and if the price for paper goes down, then the demand for the pencil will go up. And the 4th shifter of demand is income. And income, this is related to normal goods and inferior goods. Normal goods are goods that income and the demand for the product are directly related, and inferior goods are income and the demand for the product are inversely related. So with a normal good, if income goes down, then the demand for the product will go down. But for an inferior good, if the income goes down, then the demand for an inferior good will go up. The fifth shifter is expectations. So if you expect the price for a pencil to go up next week, you're going to buy more this week, so the demand will go up this week.
Alright, so switching over to supply, the most important aspect to know is the law of supply. This law states that there's a direct relationship between the price of a good or a service and the quantity produced. So, for example, if the price of a banana increases, then more bananas will be supplied because producers want to make more of a profit. The supply curve is actually upward sloping. As the price level of a good or service increases, so does the quantity produced. Also, the good or service can move along the supply curve if the price level increases. However, there are 5 main things that can shift the entire supply curve.
So the 5 shifters of supply are: 1, the price of resources. So for example, if a pencil company that has to buy wood to make the pencils has to pay more for that wood, then the supply will go down. The second shifter is the number of producers. If the number of producers increases, then the supply of the product will increase as well. And the third shifter is technology. So if there is an improvement in the technology to make pencils, to make them more efficiently, then the supply will go up. The fourth one is taxes and subsidies, which is government involvement. So for subsidies, if a government gives a company money to produce their product, then the supply will go up. But if a government taxes their product, then the supply will go down because they'll have less money to make that product. And the fifth shifter is expectations. So if a company thinks that in 3 weeks they'll make more money selling their product than they would this week, then they're going to hold off on their supply for now until 3 weeks has come, and they'll make more money in the future.
From the information that we just learned, we will be able to identify areas of surplus and shortages in certain goods and services. So, for example, I have a standard supply and demand graph right here for milk. So, as you can see, this point right here represents the equilibrium. So, that essentially means that at that point, the supply matches the demand for milk. But this isn't always the case, and sometimes the price is jacked up to, say, $5. So, when the price is $5, the demand is extremely low, but the supply is very high because suppliers of milk want to make profit. So this whole area is an area of surplus of milk. Conversely, there are sometimes shortages of milk. So when the price of milk is, say, $1, the supply of milk is extremely low because suppliers don't want to sell milk for $1 because they won't make any profit. However, the demand for a $1 gallon of milk is extremely high because people will be able to afford more gallons of milk and will therefore buy more gallons of milk. So this whole area right here is a shortage of milk. Alright, so you just learned the basics of supply and demand curves.
And the variables which cause shifts along these curves and the laws that shape these curves.
You also learned how to analyze the graphs of the curves in order to identify areas of surplus and shortages in the goods and services. We hope that this educational video helped you understand the subject, and we hope that you have a very nice day.